few weeks since we've been back. Obviously, there's not been an awful lot of action going on with regards to the international break and the cancellations of the match. Well, not cancellations of the matches, the rescheduling of the matches to an unforeseen date, down to the situation with the Queen having passed away. We lost the Forest game because it was part of the game week, which really we probably didn't need to lose, by any man. It was a Monday.
We lost the Scum game, didn't we?
The Scum game was obviously postponed as well.
The under-23 score.
Just because of police. Really, we probably didn't need to lose, by any man. It was a Monday.
We lost the Scum game, didn't we?
It might have been sensible for us to perhaps, postpone the Scum game and play the Forest game. I think that's what people have already said.
The under-23s have beaten Stoke 3-0. Fernandez, Mateo Joseph has a brace, and Perkins has scored. So that's looking good. Gnonto not in the squad. The lineup's Drame, Spencer Moore, Sutcliffe, John, McGurk, Allen, Joseph and Perkins up front. And then on the bench it's Brooks, Snowden, Coleman, Max Dean and Amari Miller.
We did go and see Leeds United play.
Yeah, we went
the under-23s play last Friday, and that was a really, really good. It was a really good game.
Yeah.
It was good to see. And I tell you what, obviously we did a bit of a video slightly sort of after the game. And one thing I would say is I was, very, very impressed with Perkins.
Perkins good.
To me, it just looks athletic.
Hi Alison and Adams. Hi Alison. Hi Ian.
Hi, yeah. So it looks athletic. He's obviously scoring every single game. He's getting braces. He's getting hat tricks. He's playing for England under 21s.
Got a hat trick for the England. Got another goal for the Jarby and Perkins scored for the England under 19s, and then the game before he got a hat trick. Game before he scored. So he's scored he's scored in every game he's played for England and Leeds since he's joined us, I think.
So did you get a chance to watch the press conference?
I looked at some of the notes from it, so I do know some of the stuff that he said.
So just to quickly say, I can sort of do a bit of a recap. Obviously, there was the comment about the fact that he's got a touchline ban. Quite a lot's been said about that. I think sounds like there was a review board that looks at the attack. It wasn't an attack. The actual offence against Somerville that was on the edge of the box that VAR didn't even look at. They deemed that it shouldn't have been a penalty. I think many people disagree with that. Even Brentford fans disagree with that.
Yeah.
It should have at least been looked at. So the question is, should Marsh be in a situation where he's getting angry and getting cross and giving back a little bit on the count of his patches objecting it wasn't looked at? I probably think that should have been overturned. He hasn't appealed it. He's just taken a slap on the wrist. So we are facing this Villa game without him on the touchline. It's not like he's not going to have a mobile phone. He's not going to be able to communicate. But it's always better to have the gaffer on the touchline.
We'll find him a seat in the Kop.
Yeah,
the fans can be crowd surfing him.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
What did you make of his Gnonto comments?
I just think that he's sort of covering up for the fact he's already said that he's not ready. Obviously, I heard from Dad what he'd said, and then I went and looked at it. I think he's just covering up for the fact that he's already basically said Gnonto's not ready. He's trying to sort of sugarcoat the fact that it's a panic signing. I'm not saying that Gnonto's I'm not saying Gnonto's a bad signing, because I think he's going to be he's one for the future. But I don't think I still think that when Marsh said he's ready, he's not ready. He had it bang on, because I think Marsh saying he's going to play a big part this season is just Marsh covering up for the fact that he already said before we signed him that he's not ready for the Premier League yet.
And you know what? It's really, really interesting, this whole debate about Gnonto. I mean, obviously, he's in the squad for the game against Villa. We know that he's going to be in the squad because Marsh said he would be in the squad, and obviously he's not in the squad for the under-23s. We saw him in the under-23s, and I do think there were much better players on the pitch. For me, I say much better. Ayling had a really good game, which you would expect him to at that level. Cooper had a good game. Bamford had a good game.
Players apart from Firpo had a good game.
Firpo, again, even under 21s for me, and I'm not hating on the guys for the sake of it.
He looks out of his depth.
He looked out of his depth on the under 23. He's playing against a bang average under 21 side.
Yeah.
Perkins looks
stunning. He looks like a good
It looks
player.
like he's going to be amazing.
You've got to remember when you're on about Gnonto playing for the Italy first team as well. Italy ain't in the World Cup, They haven't got, obviously the Euros is come and gone now, so that's going to come in 2024, I believe. So fingers crossed, because obviously last time it was postponed by a year. Obviously Euros have come and gone, and Italy aren't in the World Cup, so you might find that Nations League doesn't mean out to Italy. You might find that Mancini is just calling up young players for the future. He's testing young players out for future talents. Hence why Raspadori's getting a call up. You know, let me just look at Italy's squad at the minute. You'll see how many unestablished young players are in there. You've got Visario in net from Empoli. Obviously, you've got Emerson from West Ham. I know he's not young, but you get the gist. He's not really a established player there. He's got Berea from Inter, which is understandable. For Fratesi from Sassuolo. Raspadori, I wouldn't expect Raspadori to be in the team. Obviously, he's going to be like maybe their third choice striker.
And, right, £100 fine for my wife, £1,000
from West Ham. Obviously, you
£10,000 for that's interesting, Ray. I don't know what your wife's fine's got to do with it. Well, she can't speak. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You got a £10,000 fine for that.
Thought you were going to say £100 donation then.
Yeah, no, you don't donations. But the question is, again, it's a good point, because we may well say that Italy are blood-in players that perhaps aren't to the highest stand with a view to bringing them in the same way Southgate did when he first started. But what you've got to remember is Southgate is picking a side that he's probably expecting most of those people in that side are going to go to the World Cup. And this was a game where Italy, from what I see, were more dominant than England in that game. It wasn't a particularly good game for England, wasn't that? No. Gnonto, he very much held his own against these Premiership players.
Obviously, that's not hard to do, but yeah.
Maguire's woeful. What is Gareth Southgate thinking having that game?
I don't get why players don't like Madueke from PSV and Tomori from AC Milan, and even Marcus Edwards from Sporting don't get a call up. Obviously, you saw Marcus Edwards against Spurs in the Champions League. Some of the runs he was making. I watched the game. He's just a phenomenal player. But there's obviously a bias to Premier League players and London clubs and Big Six clubs, which is why players like Grealish are still getting a call up and Jack Harrison isn't.
Ray Sam's just said that Gelhardt's not pulling up trees at the moment. That's kind of the language I use.
I don't think Jesse rates Gelhardt. There's under 23s players that Bielsa rated. I don't think there's players Bielsa didn't rate. I don't think Marsh rates Drame. I don't think Marsh rates Joffrey. I think Marsh rates Greenwood much more than Joffrey.
I think so. And I'm going to be straight with you. I watched Perkins and there's not a lot. When you talk about whether a player should get a chance to step up and have a go in the first team, there's not a lot going against this kid. Seriously, you saw him in the interview, and what I didn't realise is he's about 6'1", 6'2". He's actually got that imposing. No, I'm on about Perkins. He's actually got that imposing. He looks like a fully grown bloke. He doesn't look like a teenager. In terms of his size. For me, I think Ray, you've got a really good point there, and I would definitely like to see what Perkins could do when stepping up. And the thing about it is, yeah, it is a step up. You know what I'm finding is that in actual fact, playing in the Premier League seems to be a step up in terms of a national game, because we watch these England games, and it's just like. Oh, it's like watching paint dry. I'm just bored.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's Leeds United's style of play, which it might well be. I don't know whether that's because I'm more invested in this moment in time in Leeds United than I am in watching England play. But I'm just bored out my head. I'm sure if we had Emileski available, it'd be bringing him on because he's a good defender, bearing him as a striker. You don't want to know who Emileski is. Just trust me. Okay. You don't want to know him. Have a look at it later. It's a striker that England used to play, and I think he scored like one goal in about 40 games, and we used to bring him on as a striker because he was good at defending, which is just, back in the day.
No, I think there's a club recently that it's quite recent. The manager put a player up front for like a really big game, just like a centre back up front, and just knocked balls in on his head, and it was scoring goals. It may have been Real Madrid, but I'm not sure. I just know that recently I saw a game and. They put a centre back up front and they just pinged balls onto his head.
Yeah, I think for me, I think one of the problems. I think this may well do FIFA. This World Cup being in Qatar may well do FIFA quite a bit of damage, and I'll tell you for why. Because most, I would say, Premier League fans who watch England play, who have actually got Premier League teams that they support, are going to get to. We're going to get to sort of November, and we're going to be all sitting thinking, why on earth are we? Why are we breaking the Premier League up into two to watch this crap? And I think that's what we're going to see.
I genuinely, I don't think England might not even make it out of the group stage.
It's going to be awful.
What are we thinking about the Pulisic links? Obviously, there's been links to Pulisic. I think if we get him, it'll be a loan with an option to buy for maybe around 30 million. I don't think that we would. I think it's possible. It's definitely possible that we get him. Obviously, the American links there, but I think there's more chance of Josh Sargent. But I think if we do get him, it will be a loan with an option to buy for maybe 31.5 million.
I think if Pulisic, I think if Tuchel had still been there, there's probably some sense in that. I think a lot of these links are coming from Americans who are there's a campaign free Pulisic.
Yeah.
But what you've got to bear in mind is that Potter's. I mean, he's only had one game in charge of Chelsea at this moment in time. So whether or not Pulisic is actually going to get a chance to break into that Chelsea team,
it won't.
We don't know.
Not now they've got obviously Sterling and Mount on the wings. They don't, and now they've signed over. I don't. Obviously, that being Aubameyang, I don't think that he's going to get much.
I'd like to see him at Leeds. I would like to see him at Leeds. Don't get me wrong. But again, where are you going to put him? Because
you could easily take Rodrigo out and put Pulisic in a forward role.
But so you've got Harrison, who arguably for me, there's not many players.
Inconsistent though.
There's not many.
He goes out of form. He switches.
Not since. Not since. He doesn't seem to have lost form. He seems to have played very well in every single game under Marsh. He seems to suit the system, and for me, I wouldn't replace Harrison with any other player in the Premier League in that position right now. I'll be straight with you. He does a good job for us within that system. You've got Aronson, who's vying for. Certainly, if he's not on the right wing, he's in a situation where he's perhaps playing through the middle. And you've got Cini. I'm being funny. There's not many players in the Premier League I'd rather have than Cini at the minute with the form he's on. I mean, he's got in a goal a game. You can't.
But we're on a Loftus Cheek is ahead of Pulisic in the Chelsea squad, so I think it's genuinely possible.
Ray Sam, couple of questions there. You've said Perkins is fantastic. My son supports West Ham. First question is, mate, what's going on there? How on earth have you allowed that to happen? That's the first thing. And was raving about him, but Moyes never really trusted apprentices. He played against Leeds as a substitute when Leeds beat West Ham with the Harrison hat-trick.
You didn't know that?
No, I weren't sure about it. I didn't know about that. But I tell you what, yeah, I agree. I do think Perkins, for me, he looks like he's going to be absolutely mint. He looks like he's going to be really good. I think he'll have a breakthrough season this season. I think Bamford gets injured. We're going to start seeing people like Perkins coming through, and I actually think he looks like a proper number 9 for us, and he certainly knows where the back of the net is, which is what we need.
Yeah.
So again, let's just very quickly before we go on to the Villa match.
Yeah.
If you haven't already hit the like, please hit the like button.
I had a question as well, but if you go
and
first,
if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Right? Did you have a question?
Okay, my question is. It's not necessarily about the Villa game, but obviously at the end of the transfer window we did a live and we're discussing if you would get a left back in now, who would it be? And if you could get a striker in, who would it be? From the Premier League, who would you, if you get a left back in, who's it going to be? Unrealistic and realistic. If you go for unrealistic, and I'll go realistic.
Left back.
Would you take Cucurella maybe? Or for
left back.
Would you take Cucurella maybe? Or for an unrealistic left back?
I think you probably have to.
Yeah.
What about right back?
We don't need a right back.
What about right back?
If I could have any right back,
I'd have Kyle Walker.
No,
I would have Kyle Walker. I just would. I think
I would have Reece James. Okay. Everyone knows in sort of around my footballing circle that I rate Reece James so much. He's miles clear of Trent. I don't care what you say. He's miles better at defending and arguably attacking.
See, Trent plays in a system where he's allowed to get forward because they play.
But he doesn't get back. He only gets forward.
Yeah, but if he gives you such attacking output, that you see, the thing about it is, if you've got somebody getting the amount of assists and goal contributions that he's getting,
yeah,
you can probably afford to send him forward.
Not really, because have you seen him recently? He's like partly to blame for the form they've been on. He just can't defend. He's like Firpo when it comes to defending, but then he's like
Tony Baldwinson. I agree with you.
Yeah, I tried to initiate my son from an early age, but sad. Yeah, well,
Ray, do you live down south? Do you actually live down south?
An unrealistic striker. You'd probably go for Haaland, wouldn't you? Even though that's partly realistic, that's not even unrealistic.
I don't think there's any team in the world that Haaland won't get into right now. Quite frankly. So
apart from maybe Real Madrid with Benzema.
Let's talk about let's just have a very quick sort of talk about how our boys have done in international games. Obviously, USMNT have had a disappointing game.
Yeah, I think Adams played a full 90, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Aronson featured. I think they played okay by all accounts.
Adams got man of the match.
Well, that's not surprising.
So Adams got man of the match.
Did he play Korea, was it?
Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
That's a bad team.
I was hoping they'd give us
But you're hoping they give us what?
I was hoping they were going to give England a battering in group stages.
Aronson came on in the 76th minute, so we got maybe 20, maybe 15 minutes.
I mean, I see Trippier.
He made one pass. He didn't really do much. You know what I'd love to see? Weston McKennie from Juventus. He's another American. Obviously, he's breaking into the Juventus first team. He's 23. He's centre mid, right wing, left wing, centre mid, attacking midfielder. He's someone I'd love to see. Maybe if we don't get Pulisic, but then
Riley. That's the coaching's bad for the US apparently, not the players.
They've also played Japan.
Yeah, Mark Atkinson. Rasmus apparently had a great game.
He got man of the match, I think.
And who were they playing?
They were playing.
They're playing a decent team and all, weren't they?
Denmark. Yeah, I think they were. Yeah, they played. It wasn't them.
No, they played really
France.
well. That's it. They played a decent team.
Yeah,
so
Mbappe. I think it was Mbappe that had to switch.
Yeah, he had Mbappe in his pocket, which is
Mbappe. Mbappe didn't play. Yes, he did. It was. I think it was Griezmann. He had in his pocket.
Yeah, I heard it completely.
Griezmann had to swap wings, and Mbappe. They had to swap Mbappe and Griezmann round because he was just giving them trouble. He had the most tackles in the match. He made 53 accurate passes. I think that was the third most. He had 81 touches. He had 2 accurate long balls. He 2 header clearances, 3 interceptions, 5 recoveries, and he won a handful of duels as well. So he is, and it looks like he's got a good partnership with Joachim Andersen from Palace, sort of on his right for Denmark. He has a good thing going with Christensen and Andersen as well.
Whereabouts do you live then, Ray? If you live near us. Other question, and this is another thing that's been a bit of a concern for many Leeds fans, has been how the possibility that Marsh may get offered the England job.
Marsh?
Not the England job, the US job.
No.
No. And again, it is a possibility, but again, it was unequivocal about the fact that he is intending on staying at Leeds, and there isn't a job in the world that he would take right now, which I think is good, because I certainly would like to see him stay at Leeds. I think he's doing a great job for us. So let's just move on now to the game that's upcoming against Aston Villa. What were you going to say? There's some bad blood. There's some bad blood with Villa, especially with that tackle on Archie Gray. It didn't seem to be overly injured from, but certainly the way in which the tackles were going on a 16-year-old lad, it weren't particularly great. Looking forward to sticking it up Villa, if we can possibly stick it up Villa. We appear to have almost, by the sound of it, a full squad available, obviously with the exception of Stuart Dallas and Adam Forshaw. So we have now got Firpo back. We've got Rasmus Christensen back, who wasn't available for the last game on account of injury. We've got a full back line available pretty much. Obviously, we've got Cooper come back. In midfield, obviously, we're missing... We're missing...
Forshaw's missing.
Forshaw. Up front, we've got Bamford and Rodrigo.
City might not be fully fit. Obviously, he's travelling back from Colombia,
Shut that dog up.
so Cine may not start. So, but you'd obviously have to have Aronson and Harrison on the wings. You'd have to start Rodrigo and have Bamford up front, wouldn't you? What is the predicted lineup? What are we thinking for the lineup?
Is he going to start Firpo or Strauch? And if he starts Firpo, which I don't think is fair, because of Strauch's derby. I don't think Strauch is. I don't. Quite frankly, I don't think taking Strauch out and putting Firpo in. Certainly, the way that Firpo played in that under-23s game, I think Strauch would be completely unfair. However, if you're going to put Firpo on and move Strauch into the middle and take Llorente out, that seems to me to be the only way that Firpo would appear on the left back position.
Your centre-back partnership's going to be Cooper and Koch.
I think it probably is.
I think Strauch will start at left back, Firpo will be a sub.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen. But again, if we're in a position where we start with Firpo at left back, the only way I think that's going to be tenable and acceptable, change from where we have been playing, is if Strauch's moving into the middle and playing alongside Koch. That's the only way that it actually works for me. Yeah. But again, I do think he'll start.
I think Struijk and Koch's probably when we've obviously got a fully fit team, and if Firpo finds format, the Struijk and Koch's the centre back pairing everyone's going to want to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. But having said that, I do think we've missed Cooper as well.
Who have you got at right back?
It's we had Riley. That's the question. Right, do we see Ayling starting? And again, this is the question that was asked to Marsh in his press conference, and he says there's no wrong answer. And the reason isn't because Rasmus had a great start. But
he's had a great international break.
If you take Rasmus out now, how does he work his way back into that team? As somebody that we've brought in to replace Ayling, how on earth can Rasmus be not starting that game? Bearing in mind he's played well for Denmark. How can you justify having Ayling starting that game? I mean, Ayling's come on and had 20 minutes, but really had a good 20 minutes, and then he's played fantastically well for the under-21s. I wouldn't like to call that. And to be honest with you, if Ayling starts up, I've got no problem. If
Ayling couldn't be moved to left.
If Rasmus starts, I've got no problem. I don't mind which of them it is.
Riley saying could Ayling be moved to the left? I don't get what the obsession is still with square pegs round holes. We've got options.
Why would you have Ayling at left back when you've got Strauch?
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
There's an obsession now with having to put people in square pegs round holes. There's still Ayling and Rasmus. Are both playing well. Stick Ayling on the left, and we've got. But then obviously, where does Strauch fit in?
Why are you taking Strauch out the side? Because Strauch's played.
You wouldn't. Ayling's ever played a single game at left back for us. Marsh isn't just going to put him there and take a punt now, is he?
Yeah, it is a nice problem, Mark Atkinson, to have. It's a problem we didn't have for huge
and we'll have even runs of games last season. More depth when Dallas comes back, obviously left back, right back.
I mean, you've got Dallas to come back, and he's a fan favourite as well. Strauch in the centre, Riley, completely and totally agree. But so what you're saying, Riley, is Strauch moving into the centre and Ayling moving left back. I can't see that happening personally.
It's never going to happen. Anyway, it's just never going to happen. Shut that down right now.
Has Rasmus ever played left back?
Rasmus has played left back.
But that's more likely.
I don't think Marsh wants to put him at left back. Not.
So again, we've got
struggled at right back. So our back line is, who do you want at the right back? I personally want Ayling. At the minute, I want Ayling after the last game.
I don't think you can justify taking Rasmus out. Bearing in mind, we just signed him. He's the new signing. He's had such a good game for Denmark. Yeah, but
he had good games for us, though. He had good games for us.
You've got to give him time.
A player. Yeah, I know you've got to give him time. And I don't want to sound.
Who's he up against when we play Villa?
Pardon? He will probably be up against any Wendia, Coutinho, or Leon Bailey. I'd most want him to be up against Coutinho because Coutinho's on poor form. Let me look at who I think. My Villa, who I think will be on their left side will probably be Luca Digne won't play because he's injured. They've obviously got a lot of injured defenders: Matty Cash, Diego Carlos, Jan Bednarek, Luca Digne. So their left back options are Ashley Young or Ludwig Augustinsson. I think Ashley Young will start at left back maybe. So that'll be their left back. That'll be who Rasmus is sort of mirroring. And then maybe on the left wing they'll have Buendia or Coutinho, I think is probably most likely. So when it's going to be up against Buendia or Coutinho, or possibly Leon Bailey.
Okay, well, we need to move on from that. So your back four, what would your back four be?
Ayling, Cooper, Cott, strike at left back.
I think I would go the same, but I would probably have Rasmus at right back.
Okay.
Just because you've got to give him more time. You can't just
CDM.
bring somebody in like that and then not play him. But I would probably see how he's faring at the end of the first time, and I would be giving Ayling possibly, unless Rasmus is having an absolute storm of a game, I would give Ayling 35, 40 minutes. I think it's right to do so. I prefer to see Struijk in the middle, but I'm just not confident enough with Firpo to take Struijk out that team just yet.
CDMs, Adams and Rocker, I think that's obvious.
That's your first two names on the team sheet. Apart from Coco, I think is again one of the first on the team sheet. You can't take Coco out. He's having a phenomenal start to the season. He's made a few mistakes in the last game.
He wasn't the best against Brentford.
He wasn't the best against Brentford, but you forgive him because he's played every other game. He's played very well.
Play bad when they play next to Llorente and he's playing like that.
But again, I think we'll see. Cooper's very, very good organisationally. He's very good in terms of.
And then obviously, attacking midfield, I've got Rodrigo, and then front three's Aronson, Harrison, and Bamford. I don't think you can really argue with that.
So you've got who? Sorry. So you've got.
I wouldn't play Rodrigo. I've just remembered Cine, so I wouldn't play Rodrigo. I wouldn't start him. Obviously, he's not played in a bit because of injuries.
So you play Harrison on the left
as well. Harrison on the left, Cine on the right.
Yeah.
Aronson in an attacking midfielder, Bamford up front.
I think I'd probably go with that. I mean, who's going to come off the bench?
Rodrigo, you've got coming off the bench. You've got Gnonto on the bench. You've got Llorente on the bench.
Click on the bench, aren't you?
Click on the bench. Perkins maybe, but obviously he's playing for the 23s. You've got Drama.
I agree. That's my thinking exactly.
You've got Christensen or Ayling on the bench, depending on which one he plays at right back. You've got some good bench options.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Just before we go any further, please hit that like button. We're only on 20 likes. We've got 42 people in the room at the minute. We're down because I think I think we haven't perhaps promoted the video as widely as we would normally do, so I've given us much notice. So, but please make sure you hit that like button. I think that's going to be interesting. So, what's your prediction for the game? Do you think we'll do well against Villa?
I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for us. That's what my heart says. I think. If I'm gonna be like pessimistic and use my brain, which obviously you don't want, but I think it could be a 2-2 draw. But I think maybe 2-1 is what everyone wants to hear. So 2-1.
I think what strikes me about this. If people are saying that Villa had a bit of an upturn in form coming into this game, I think they had one good game coming into this game and a draw before that, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Leeds look like they've had bad form. If we'd have played that Forest game, we'd have won that Forest game. The games where we've dropped points, the last 2 or 3 games, we've outplayed the opposition. People would talk about Brentford. Yeah. We were in that game, apart from bad refereeing decisions and a woeful mistake from a centre half who was like a rabbit in his head.
I would argue that Ivan Toney we've lost it because Ivan Toney's hat-trick. What a player Ivan Toney
But again, free kick, shouldn't have been a free kick. Good to be back. 4-2, Mark Atkinson, high scoring game for me. Okay, question is, Mark, who's going to score for Leeds then? Because we've got Bamford back, which is really, really good. It's Sonny Perkins playing tonight, isn't he? Yeah. So he isn't even in the squad.
He might be in the squad.
Isn't it? He can't be in the squad for the game he's played tonight.
He can be in the squad. He can.
Okay.
He can be in the squad. I think he might be.
I think what should be interesting.
Let me look what the score is. I'm updating myself on
some first team football. Just to see how far away he is from the first team.
Still 3-0.
Still 3-0. It's worth getting up to those under 21 games, by the way. It's like about £6 a ticket. It's not a lot. There's a really, really cracking atmosphere. There's usually first team players in those teams, and we're dominating, and the atmosphere in Ellen Road is fantastic. Like I said on the last video, we went to the last under 21 games because we bought tickets for the Forest game, but you know we multiple class is substances. It's fun. What's that? Watching you on multiple class A substances. It's fun. That's really good. Thanks for putting that. We appreciate that, Peter Hayward.
If you are on substances, then maybe chuck a cheeky donation in because you might slip up and put the wrong number.
Yeah, we think that. I think the under 21s is worth going and watching the under 21s on account of the atmosphere, on account of the fact that the players, they seem to hang around signing stuff. If you've got kids, take the kids. It's a really, really good atmosphere. And again, we went because there weren't much football going on. We got Forest tickets. That Forest game got shunted.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. Bamford scores with his head from a Harrison cross.
Might remember that, so we can tell you that. We can
Leeds
see if that
3-1.
happens.
So what's your prediction? So you're saying 2-1 Leeds?
2-1 Leeds. Heart says 2-1 Leeds. Head says 2-0. But I think I'm going to go with 2-1.
I'm going to go with 3-1 Leeds. I'm going to go with 3-1 Leeds. I think we're going to press Villa. Villa are going to try and expose us down the wings. I think Rasmus Christensen is going to have a good game.
You know what?
I really
that's
don't
good.
hope he starts.
Sinisterra at striker's a good shout. It could do that, to be fair.
Cine can play striker, can't he?
It could bench Bamford and put Cine up front and have Aronson, Rodrigo and Harrison behind him.
It's early doors yet, and there's 41 people in here. Let me just ask you a question. Just want to do a bit of a poll, right? And I'm going to ask you to just answer with one word, right? We are really early doors, and we've signed Sinisterra. He's missed the first bit of the season, but he's then gone on and he's played 3 games for Leeds and scored a goal from outside the box in every single one of those games. He's playing for his national team, and in the last 2 games, he's got 3 goals. And this kid looks to me like he's going to be every bit as productive as Raphinha. Let me ask you a question. When we come to the end of this season, do you think Sinisterra's output is going to have been higher than or lower than Raphinha's last 2 seasons? In other words, do you think...
Last 2 seasons combined?
No. Do you think when we get to the end of this season, we're going to be thinking Sinisterra is better than Raphinha, or do you think we're going to be missing Raphinha? So answer either Cine or Rafa as to whether you think we're going to be in a situation where we would take Rafa back and send Sinisterra on its way. You think he's good? You think his output is going to... Sinisterra's output is going to be lower? I'm actually thinking... Sinisterra's... I think he's going to come really, really good. I think he's going to come good.
I wouldn't take Rafa back and send Cine back, but I would say that I think Rafa had a bigger impact on the team. I think Cine's come into a team now that's gelling really well and that's playing well as a unit, and no one's really having a terrible game other than Llorente.
I'm asking for his prediction, Mark Atkinson.
Cine's come into a team that's already gelling really well. Marsh has brought it together. We've got some really good players now. Rafa was performing in a team where we had Ayling starting at centre back. We had players like Tyler Roberts starting up front. So I would say Rafa's had a bigger impact for us than Sinisterra will have. Probably. Do you get what I'm coming from?
I do. I think
Rafa was able to take a game by the scruff of the neck when he was playing, when he was whipping balls in for Tyler Roberts to score. So, Cine's obviously got a few better players around him. He's playing in front of either Ayling or Christensen. He's whipping balls in, and we've got a fully fit Bamford. Fingers crossed. He's got Aronson picking up balls and making passes to him. He's got a bit more service coming to him. Okay,
let me ask you another question then. Obviously Calvin Phillips, and I said right at the very beginning of this season, I'd said we're not going to miss Calvin Phillips. And the reason why I was saying we wouldn't miss Calvin Phillips is because people are saying...
I wouldn't even take him back.
People are saying, and the pundits were saying Leeds are going to go down on account of the fact we've lost our best 2 players. Calvin Phillips didn't feature last season. He really didn't, for us, have the impact that we would have looked. We wouldn't say Calvin Phillips put in enough of a shift that he kept us up. It was Raphinha that kept us up in that regard. How many people out there think that we are going to get to the end of the season and we're going to think that we have missed Calvin Phillips? And how many people out there are going to say they're happier with us having Adams and Roca? So if you think you're going to be at the end of this season thinking that we've got better in Adams and Roca, put Adams and Roca or Adams or Roca. If you think we're in a situation where we're going to be coming to the end of the season thinking that we would wish that we had Phillips back, put Phillips. Again, let's just take injuries out of the equation for a second. We know that he's injury prone. We know that he's gone to City. Happier, unhappier. I'm happier. What do you think?
I am happier as well. I think Adams is a baller.
Yeah, I think Adams is going to be.
And Rocker's good. Rocker's output and Adams' input. It's really the way Adams wins the ball and wins possession, and then
I think we
passes it sideways to Rocker, and Rocker distributes. And even that gives us the option to take one of them out and put Forshaw in, because Forshaw sort of offers a bit of both. You know, we've got a team that gels well.
So again, taking stock after the first 5 or 6 games, I think that we are, and I said this before, we're stronger in defence. And the reason we're stronger in defence is we haven't got, and it's unlikely we're going to get the same level of injuries.
Yeah.
Strauch is a year on from where he was before.
Yeah.
I think from our point of view, we've got a better strength in depth when it comes at right back.
Yeah.
We've got a better defensive midfield pairing than what we had before. We've got more dynamic play with Aronson. Completely agree.
Yeah.
I'm actually liking the system better. There's less chance that has been pulled out of shape. The weaknesses we had last season were, teams have been double teaming on Aronson. Do you think the game plan will change because of this?
Who's going to double team on him?
How many times within a podcast do you think you could actually drop your mobile phone? Because there are about 10 now. People are going to double team on Aronson.
John McGinn,
great. Have you met Sinisterra?
John McGinn's on abysmal form, so that's good for us, I suppose. They've got Ashley Young can play CDM, but do you really want him there? The player that you don't really want marking Aronson is probably Boubacar Kamara, someone we were in for from Marseille in January. Aston Villa bought. I mean, let me just look at their last team sheet now. Boubacar Kamara, Jacob Ramsey, and John McGinn are really they're 3 CDM options. John McGinn's in absolutely terrible form this season. Kamara's been one of the best players in my opinion, and Jacob Ramsey, I want him to be called up to the England team because he's such a good player. But I don't really think that they can double team him because of the injuries they've got, and the players are being poor. The players are terrible at the minute.
They double team him, right? Then that's all good as far as that. Brentford seems to be double teaming Harrison for me, not necessarily Aronson. That is the first time I'd seen Aronson not particularly have a good game, but Harrison was being double teamed. But if you've got Harrison, Sinisterra, and Aronson behind Bamford, I'm not even sure how you go about double teaming a player. I mean, you double team Aronson, that's great. You've got Sinisterra and Harrison completely free.
Yeah.
How does that work? Work? And again, the way in which we enter into transition so quickly, and you can put 2 players on Aronson, I'm not sure that's actually something that's going to be an option when we've got all our front players now fit and Bamford's firing, which he was in the 21s because he got a hat-trick.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking forward to this game.
I am looking forward to it. And we haven't had football in ages, so come on, I hope we win this.
So finally, Everton double and triple teamed Aronson at times in the game. And we need to learn to play through that. We need to learn to have different outputs. But again, let's see where we go from here. I'm liking Marsh. I'm liking Marsh ball. I'm a little bit nervous about Orta going because I like Orta.
Yeah, he's got an interview with Chelsea next week, so...
Do we think there's anything going to come of that?
I mean, if nothing comes of it and he comes back after having an interview with Chelsea, it's going to be a bit tainted, isn't it?
Doesn't he have family living down there or something?
I don't know, but I do know I want him to stay. So
yeah, I like Orta. Rewatch the Everton and Brentford games and watch when Aronson got the ball. I Riley will do, but what is your point? I'm just asking. What if we go and look at that? What do you think we're going to see? And the reason I'm saying that is because it's unlikely I'm going to have the opportunity to watch both those games again. Do you think that Aronson was not able to do anything with the ball, or do you think he was moving the ball around and it's not too much of a problem? Just clarify your comment there because I'd like to know what you mean. So I think from my point of view, I think we've got plenty to look forward to going forward. Yeah. Sinisterra, I'd love to see him score. It's important when you've got a player on a run like that we get the ball to him and that we continue keeping him that form. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of player Rodrigo comes back out. Like the last game, I think against Brentford. Was he in the game against Brentford?
Sinisterra?
No, Rodrigo.
No, he was injured.
Yeah. We've gone from worrying about a new striker to having a lot of striker options. Completely agree, because Sinisterra can play up front.
Still think that we need a striker. I would take Daichi Kamada from Frankfurt. I think he's Japanese international. I've said a lot about him to my dad recently.
I think we need to give Perkins a go.
Yeah.
I think we need to give Perkins a go.
Fair enough, but he's still young, isn't he?
But there's a lot of talk about Perkins. Nobody on this stream has mentioned Joffrey. That's really, really
Because
interesting.
I don't think Marsh rates him. I just don't think Marsh rates Joffrey or Drame. I think he rates Hjelde and Greenwood much more.
That's really, really interesting. We've got 40 minutes into a stream and we've been talking about the team and how the team's going to start. And there ain't anybody on there asked the question, what about Joffrey? Now, I find that very, very interesting. Do you think that's because we've suddenly realised that or we suddenly think that he's not going to be the prodigy that we're expecting? Is he on bad form? Or is it just that we think that Perkins is going to come through and actually end up
And we've got
outshining him?
You know.
Joffrey isn't scoring. He should be bagging soon. Yeah, I agree. Jack Simpson, he should be. You think that at least should play a 4-4-2 against
the
Villa?
Brexit formation. Love to see it. I think we're more likely to do what I've done like every game this season, though.
So there we go. So I think thanks ever so much for watching. It's been really good to be back.
Yeah.
And we will be doing a video after the game, possibly on either Sunday or on Monday. And we will do a post-match, a bit of a chat, much the same way as we're doing now. If you've got any comments, please put them in the comment box. If you haven't already liked the video, please like the video. Please make sure you subscribe and also share the content because it really helps and we really appreciate it. And apart from that, we will catch you next time. 3-1. I think it's going to be 3-1. Ian thinks it's going to be 2-1. Let's see who gets that right. We will catch you next time.
See you.